Hey everyone, in just a few days, LEGO is about to release the LEGO Ideas Jaws set, which is going to retail for 150 US or 200 Canadian, which is way overpriced in my opinion, especially because we can recreate that set with just these sets right here. So the Deep Sea Creatures from 2019, and the Creator theme, as well as the Sailboat. Let's build both without the instructions and recreate the Jaws scene. I'll start out with the LEGO Creator set just because it came out first, chronologically, way back in 2019. It's still available at retail from lego.com and a few stores like Amazon, so if you want to get it soon before it retires. But it doesn't include any special or unique pieces, so if you miss out on it, it's not the end of the world. But if you do want it cheap, go get it now. And by the way, this is a 3-in-1, so you could rebuild it into these other creatures right here. And here's another view of them from the top. And this is what the box looks like from the back. So in this box, we got 3 unnumbered bags, because back in those days, back in 2019, LEGO did not number their bags consistently as they do nowadays. You just have to open everything and figure it out. They do provide instructions for all 3 builds, and they still do that with the Creator 3-in-1 line to this day. And there is a QR code that you can scan for points. They just started doing that in the previous year, but there are no 3D instructions. So for this one, it's paper instructions or PDF only. So I will be using the 3D view from another source. And here we can see that there's a 4th model. In addition to these 3-in-1 models, there's a 4th model of this whale. You can build the instructions for that available online only, which is interesting to see. So this is actually a Creator 4-in-1 set in a sense. We'll set these instructions to the side and we'll never look at them ever, basically. There's this brochure here from 2023. That means this particular box was made in 2023, and it's telling us that we're going to get paper bags. We did get paper bags in a more recent LEGO Creator set, the LEGO Modern Mansion. So check out that video if you haven't already. And yeah, this is just saying that in text, basically. We'll set this aside as well, and we'll open all 3 bags. I'll put them in 3 separate piles to make the build process easier, and we'll build the main build, this shark right here, without the instructions. And just to state the obvious, there are no minifigures in this set, unfortunately, and there is no sticker sheet, fortunately. And we are done with the build. Before I put this together though, I will point out that there's a lot of red used on the inside of this great white shark, and that is intentional. It's to basically teach kids about the internals of marine animals, and it's also to reuse these red pieces in the other builds. It comes together very satisfyingly like this, and the shark can even move a little bit, and it would have been ideal if the red was not so visible when the shark is in motion like this, but it's not too bad in my opinion. So while we're here, let's take a look at the main model. So we see here a very strong and aggressive face with scary teeth, and the mouth is openable. That's pretty nice to see. There is no minifigure included in the set, but let's see if we can hold on to a minifigure. Yeah, that's kind of appropriate. It's not exactly to scale, but we could create some nice scenarios with the shark, that we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves because we'll do more of that later. So here we have the eye. It's done using LEGO Technic, and there's this transparent neon green lightsaber piece that goes to give it this really weird look, especially when it's hit by light in just the right angle. It's pretty scary, and it leads you to question, is this a real shark or a machine? That's pretty interesting. The view from the top is nice and consistent. The view from the bottom, a little bit less so, but not too bad. We see a few of the colors that we don't want to see, but there's nothing like green or anything like that. It's all the natural colors. I think I might be missing a piece right here. I'm not sure, but this seems a little bit unfinished to me. But on the other hand, if we put a piece here, then it's not going to be able to open its mouth just as wide, so maybe this is indeed intentional. You know, I like the look from the side. That's quite a large angle for it to open. The fins here are on ball joints. They can rotate, so that's pretty nice. And then the whole thing can rotate a little bit side by side. This is what it looks like from the top. Here's what it looks like from the side and from the bottom. It can't rotate too much, but it's also realistic in that fact. Like, you're not going to be able to turn this into a U-turn. There's some small fins here that can also be adjusted up and down. And the tail can be adjusted with this ball joint, and you could spread this, but it's not really intended to be spread out like that. It's supposed to be kept in place at this particular angle. And we have this big fin right here that is very popular in some cuisines. Alright, and here's a look at it straight from the front. Yeah, I would not want to be in the water with this guy. So yeah, nice main build. Let's have a look at the side builds real quick. We have this little crab here, very cute with the pincers. You know what they look like when they're closed and when they're open. They're, of course, completely adjustable. You can open them pretty wide. The eyes are weird, a little bit cute, also a little bit sad in my opinion. Maybe we need to flip them. I wonder what happens if we flip them. Okay, that's a different look. I think it looks more cheerful this way, but of course it's up to you to decide how you want to orient these eyes. These legs here, they are articulatable up and down, but they cannot move side to side, except if you rotate these pieces here. You can do a little bit of posing with this, not too much. This is supposed to be a mouth, but it doesn't really make sense to me to do it in gray. And I also don't like the fact that these pieces here are in gray. I understand it's because LEGO color locked these pieces, so they don't make these pieces in all the colors, but only gray and maybe a few other colors. But it would have been nice to see this done in red, or maybe have some piece coming over to just cover it, so the gray is less visible. I think that would have improved the looks of this crab. But overall, it's a tiny little side build, so not a lot of parts budget can be allocated to it. So yeah, final look at this thing from all angles. Not too much to see here, pretty easy to put together. This one you can put it together just by looking at the box. There's not a lot of mysteries. And finally, we have this little bit of terrain here where we get this goblet that is like the standard LEGO trophy but without the handles. So this is useful in a pirates or nautical context. Pretty nice piece to get. Would have been nice to get 2 of these in the set, but we only get 1, unfortunately. Now we do get some of these gold studs that represent gold coins, as well as these transparent neon green pieces. They're going to be used in the other builds for the eyes, but here we're just putting them here. Maybe this is some kind of weird treasure that turned radioactive or something like that. And we have this piece of seaweed that is done in the soft plastic, so it does not break off easily. Thinking about the build experience for the shark, the rear was very easy to construct without the instructions. This is super easy, what you see is what you get. This is not too bad. The middle is actually not too bad either. It's very simple and straightforward, but getting towards the head, there's lots of studs not on top techniques, and figuring out this particular portion of the head, the very front and the eyes, this was pretty challenging. The mouth is pretty easy, but this part right here, it took me a few tries to get it right, but I was able to figure it out in the end without using the instructions, so I enjoyed the challenge. It was a lot of fun. So if you do get this set, try to build it without the instructions just for fun. I think you will enjoy it. By the way, here are the extra pieces from the main build. They are the usual 1x1 and small pieces. This 1x2, I'm not sure if it's extra or if I just didn't put it in the right place in the build. Everything else here is expected to be an extra. Alright, now we've taken a look at the deep sea creatures. Now let's take a look at the LEGO City Sailboat. This is a 5+ set. It costs 20 euros or dollars or 25 Canadian. Comes with this dolphin, 2 minifigs, plus of course the sailboat. Here's a look at the back of the box. So in this set we got 2 numbered bags with not that many parts each. The sail for the sailboat, which is actually transparent. I was not expecting that. And then these pieces right here are going to be used for the sailboat. This is an axle. It's not really bendable. These, on the other hand, are very easily bendable. They're not part of any bag. Plus the unitary hull. This is so that the boat can actually float. And yes, this is one of those rare LEGO boats that can actually float. And we also get these instructions. Unfortunately, they've been damaged just a little bit at the back. Here's a look at the front of the instruction manual. As usual, we will not be using these instructions, so I'll just put them to the side, and we will build the sailboat without them. Using a brick separator to separate this piece, but it's not included in the set. Bag 1 builds this first part of the ship. We have the rudder, we have this steering wheel, life jacket, compass, and the base where we will put the sail. A few stuff here in the front, it's not very clear what that is, although this is looking more and more like a bed to me. Bag 1 also builds this nice little dolphin. We'll look at that later, as well as the minifigure. Alright, we are done with the build of this set as well. Let's have a look. We have these 2 pieces as extra. It's nice to get this piece, it's useful in other contexts, and this one is not too bad either. These extra pieces can be used by the minifigures, so it's good to get 2 of those. Speaking of the minifigures, we get 2 of them in this set. They're both very cheerful and well done. Nice printing on the torsos, no leg printing, no side printing. They're pretty standard LEGO City minifigures and not the collectible minifigures, unfortunately. Would have been nice to have something a little bit more deluxe. And they both get alternative expressions. So you can see here that the girl is surprised or shocked or scared, and this guy is about to throw up. And here's what they look like with those expressions with the hair placed on top. So nice figures to get. Both of these prints, we've seen them before, so there's nothing new here, but it's nice to always get additional minifigures for your LEGO City. And both minifigures also come with life jackets that they must wear before riding on the sailboat. Now, for the sailboat itself, it's a decent sized build. We have this big mast here that takes up a lot of the visual space. It's just one piece, one expensive piece to be fair, but it takes up a lot of visual presence, so this feels a lot larger than it actually is. And here we get 2 seats for the minifigures, although unfortunately the girl does not have articulatable legs, so she's never going to be able to sit here, unless you just give her another pair of pants that you steal from another minifigure. The guy is fine, so she's just going to have to stand all the time. And let's look at the ergonomics of driving this thing. So the steering wheel is placed at an appropriate height for a minifigure. They cannot actually grab onto the steering wheel just because of the exact distance, but at least the steering wheel is at the proper height for driving while standing. The compass is a bit It's okay. For an adult minifigure, they can look at the compass and see where they're going. But for the child, if she's standing here, she's gonna have to like tiptoe to see what's going on for the directions. And here it's pretty cramped, by the way, so this also gets in the way. So the play value is a little bit lacking in terms of this area right here. But this is easily removable if you want to put someone here in the bed to rest. Although there's no studs to hold on to them, so they're gonna get quite seasick. So I guess the expression of the minifigure makes even more sense. So basically throw them in there and you forget about them until you arrive to your destination. While they're there, they're not gonna, I mean, you can get them out if you really want to, but they're held in place pretty well. So even though there's no studs. So yeah, here's a better look at the cabin. Yeah, this thing's hurting the focus, but let's just look at different angles. So over here from the front, this looks pretty cool. Looks pretty realistic. I like the use of the pieces here. This is actually a motorcycle or bicycle handle piece that's used here, so that's some nice part usage. This really adds a lot, I think, to the build, having this go around this railing. And I like the use of the transparent piece right here. And this piece is going to be very useful for custom creations. Even from this side, the camera non-friendly angle, we see that this is not too bad actually, so I'm not bothered by this at all. And here they tiled it off in white to give it more of a consistent look from the outside. But we do still see this tan here, and this may or may not bother you depending on how you interpret it. I think it's fine personally. And yeah, there's not that much else to see here. Here's what this thing looks like from the bottom, in case you're wondering. There are no studs or anti-studs or any way to connect to this thing from the bottom, which is a minor issue, but not the end of the world. We also have this dolphin with a plate, a round plate that they go on. This is not the same dolphin that we saw with the LEGO Friends set that I had the chance to review recently. It's a different mold, and it's a different printing here for the eyes. It's a lot more serious. This could be an 18+ set compared to the cartoon dolphin that we got in the Friends set. So yeah, they're pretty similar, but not the same. All right, it's now time to put the sailboat to the test in this giant ocean of my LEGO city. And yes, the thing does in fact float. I'm trying to push on it. Let's see. Yeah, exactly as the box says, this thing does float. We see this guy, he's not doing too well. Yeah, he's pretty uncomfortable actually, so pretty soon we should get him out of the water. Let's just see, how far down can I push this thing? Like if a kid is playing rough with this, they'll have to push down on it before it starts taking on some water. And once it does take on some water, then you might be able to make it sink. Well, let's see if we could do that actually. I pressed it all the way down, but it did float back up, and oh no, it's capsizing. But she's still happy about it for some reason. Alright you guys, enough fun in the water. Oh, now it's basically sunk at this point. Alright, so yes, it does float, but if you fill it with water, it will not float anymore, just like a real sailboat. So yeah, if you get this for your kids, tell them, yeah, don't flood a boat with water, because then it's not going to float anymore, and you're going to end up like this guy. Alright, now that we're back in the main review studio, the guy is a lot happier, and I just want to point out while I was drawing this thing up that you can remove the sail and then turn this into some kind of yacht or boat other than a sailboat if you remove the sail. But if you just add your own pieces here, you could turn it into a different kind of boat with minimal effort, basically. So the sail is cool. If you're tired of the sail, or if you want to use the sail for other purposes, then you can use this boat in other ways. So I like that. Oh, and by the way, this sail is copyright 2024, the LEGO Group. It's interesting to see. So yeah, there's this set. There's not much else to say about this set specifically, but the reason why you're here is because we're going to use this set to build Jaws. And to do that, I'm going to do a few things. First of all, I'll take out this sail, which is, by the way, copyright 2024, the LEGO Group, so that's interesting to see. We'll just put that aside for now. We'll put this back. And then we're going to, well, the dolphin is not really needed for the Jaws scene. We're just going to put this right here and get our shark. And so this kind of looks like the Jaws set, but there's still a few things that are missing. So let's give the shark a stand. So I'm going to use this large panel piece here with the Technic holes. It's one of my favorite pieces because it's so useful. You could use it in so many ways. You can also use a base plate or any other large regular plate in black or blue, dark blue, etc. that matches the scene, or even white if you're trying to make this in, if you're trying to turn this into a winter scene. So I'm just going to put this here. We'll adjust the exact location later. This is just a regular half pin, half axle. And then I'm going to take 6 of these pieces right here, the round pieces with the axle hole in the middle. We'll put that there, and then we'll put the shark on top. And we can adjust this number based on personal preference, but this looks pretty cool. And we can see here the boat, we could put it on some kind of display stand, or we could just leave it like this. And this is, I think, a pretty good recreation of the Jaws set for a lot less money than the actual set would cost. But can we do better? Well, let's try changing up the colors. Magisto, Majesto. That's actually not that bad. So I recolored the shark by replacing all the dark blue pieces with dark bluish gray, and I recolored the boat hull from white to dark red, so this is the original white, which is okay. But I think the dark red is closer to the Jaws set. These minifigures are okay for this context, but we could also replace the minifigures or add more minifigures to make the set look more like the actual Jaws set. And here we can play around with the shark as well, and we can change the stand to the one from the Ideas cat. If you have that lying around, you can make something that looks like this. So this is not attached with anything, but you could modify this a little bit to attach it, and this looks a little bit better than this right here. So that's always up to you. And you can change the height, you can change this in any way that you want. And yeah, this looks pretty scary. I'm going to take these pieces here, the half Technic pin, half ball joint from the sail, because we're not going to use the sail to recreate the Jaws set. And I'll use them instead for the eyes of the shark, and I'll see what that looks like. I've not tried doing this before, so I'm trying this live. We'll see, is that a good look or not? The red is not ideal here. It would be good to change these. I don't have the pieces off the top of my head, or I don't have the pieces right in front of me, but I still think this is a good look. It just would be better if it was not if this was not red on the inside. Or maybe that makes it scarier, so up to you. Yeah, that's a good look compared to the original look of the shark right out of the box. And if this is like, if you turn this to like light bluish gray or dark bluish gray, I think that would be even more impressive. But from multiple angles, the red is not so visible, and here, a little bit of red inside here, so yeah, that looks pretty scary. So yeah, this is a different look than what you get with the set. You do have to change up some of the pieces, but I think it's worth it to do that, just to get this look. And here is a look at my completed model. So of course, this is not exactly like the Lego Jaws set, but I think it's pretty close. And you can get this with just getting 2 very cheap sets. Make some color swaps if you want. You can keep the original colors and you still get the general idea across. And here I changed the ship or the boat just a little bit to make it look a little bit closer to the actual Jaws set that Lego is releasing. But overall, yeah, you can create the diorama without having to spend $150 US or 200 Canadian dollars, and that's the main point of this video. And yeah, we can modify the shark to have it like partially coming out of the water. We can add some icebergs here, cover this with blue, or use just a different piece here instead of this one. I just had this one handy. And then the 2 minifigures from the Lego Bricklink Snack Shack, I think their outfits are well suited for this scene as well. They look kind of similar to the official Jaws minifigures, of course not identical. And this guy looks like he could be a captain or a sailor, so we could put him here to guide the ship. And we can put her with the crew, or maybe she's helping in other ways. So I think that's a nice scene right there. And for the shark, if you want to have it on a stand, as I said before, you could put it on a stand like this. And this is similar to what Lego is doing with their official set. And it looks very similar, actually. So, of course, the actual Jaws is going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more detailed, but I think this is good enough. And you can do this for very little money. Basically, buy the 2 sets and maybe some extra pieces if you want to go the extra mile, like I did, and make it a very nice presentation. And maybe you care more about the shark, so you're going to focus your spending here. Or maybe you care more about the boat, so you're going to replace the white boat hull with a dark red one. And all these pieces are relatively inexpensive to get. Not free, but not super expensive either, and definitely a lot cheaper than the actual Jaws set. So yeah, what do you think? Are you going to get these sets to replicate the Jaws scene, or are you going to get the Jaws set itself, or are you going to do both and do a comparison? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know what you think about the sets individually, which one is your favorite, and let me know if you're interested in the other builds for this 3-in-1 set. That's all I have to say for this one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss a video. There's lots of videos coming out for the August releases, so make sure you're stay tuned for those, and make sure to follow my playlist so that you can see the videos I have in August one by one, just like what I did for June. Alright everyone, have a good one, and until next time.